what I'll do today is talk through Nutritics. So Nutritics and Libros, the app, the tracking app is the kind of big software that we use in order to keep an eye on client intake. So like calorie tracking, like it's probably like it's not accurate, it's not 100% accurate, but it's probably the best shot that we have in looking at someone's nutrition intake. If someone's not into using Libro, the app, then they can use things like MyFitnessPal and send screenshots. Just make sure to ask them for screenshots before consultations, so we have something to go off. Some people look at calorie tracking as a very bad thing. Like in terms of nutritionists, we do need to be able to look at someone's nutrition, because if I show up to a consultation and be like, oh, sure, yeah, I had this for dinner and I had this for breakfast and lunch, it's not like very accurate. And this way we can kind of quiz people on it. So if they're not into technology, then we use a food diary template that is it's part of Canva, and we can send that to them in the email so they can write out what they're having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they can do that. They can do that like once a week, because I know it's a bit of an issue, like writing out everything kind of every day. With the calorie tracking, it's totally up to them how many times they want to do it throughout the week. But a lot of people will either do it full on or not do it at all. That's generally what I'd see. So the screen's over to the side a bit just because I want to hide everybody's names, just for GDPR reasons. So just setting up a person on this, like you choose the gender here, male, female. We'll go with male, and we'll just set up mine. So I'll just input my name, and we can get you the Nutritics do courses on this anyway too, if you want a hand in terms of Nutritics as well. So Daniel, and then we do Murphy for surname. Weight, you can put it in whatever, like you can do kg, pounds, just put in the sign after it so it recognizes it. So I'm about 83 kg. That'll go in about 1.8 meters. Date of birth 20, 23rd to 10th 9/5. Body fat percentage generally leave blank. We don't get that. Hip circumference doesn't make much of a difference on the outcomes, and waist circumference doesn't either. They do send us measurements, but it's just it's better just to include these because it doesn't change much. So then you get their gender, their age, their BMI, and their ideal body weight. So my ideal body weight is 81. Don't share that with the member, or don't share their BMI either unless they ask, because I think it can be quite intimidating if you coming in with a BMI of like 34, a BMI of like 50, anywhere kind of between those ranges. Like it can be off-putting, and very discouraging for someone. So then you put in, like, you ask them about their job in the consultation, what they're doing. I have a desk job, like, yeah, I'd be moderately active throughout the day. How much exercise they're doing. It's important to kind of break that down into how many hours activity they're doing, because someone could say, I'm going swimming. And in your own mind, you could be having, like, you could be saying, oh, they're doing lengths of the pool, but they could be just like walking from one side to the other. Same with the gym. They could be saying that they're doing 5 days at the gym, but like one of those days could be just doing 5 minutes of weights or something like that. So it's important to understand how much they're actually doing. So I'd be doing about 5 days, so we put in that. Athlete type doesn't matter that much. It doesn't really change. It just kind of subgroups them, so you can leave that blank. So then the DRVs, I just leave with Nutritics, and then the energy equation. So what's important is the Henry Oxford is probably the most used, and probably the most accurate, and it's something that you might have studied too before. And what I see is, like, the rules are for like a BMI of 30 or above. It generally, like, the Mifflin St. John is generally the most accurate for that. So we just switch that around, and it will give you kind of a lower calorie value then too. So mine is 25 something, so we'll do Henry Oxford. So then if someone's coming along and they want to like build muscle, we'll try and if they want to build muscle, I generally start them out in a weight maintenance. Going to a surplus is generally a lot of calories from what they're used to, unless they have some experience, which like generally there isn't much experience in terms of building muscle. If they're looking to say if their goal is to increase energy, then we'd look to hit the weight maintenance then too again. If their goal is performance, then we'll look to hit a weight maintenance, but like the exercise values would be a lot higher. And we'd try and go into specifics in terms of any athletes that are joining the program. In terms of like what they're doing on a Monday, are they doing double session kind of like that? Because they can be doing double sessions. They're going to need a lot more calories for that too. So with the calorie amount then for weight loss, so for like say if I wanted to lose weight now, I generally, and I found that the experience of the person in terms of their nutrition was relatively good. They've calorie tracked before, something they've done before, they're in the gym a lot. Like it generally go a bit more accurate, and I'd go about 2,600 kind of starting off, and then progress that on and according to the progress measures then too. So you can drop that down to about 500 to 2,400, and then again assess the progress measures, and see do they need a calorie decrease. A lot of the time you'll find that people won't meet the calorie level. What I'd say is important to look at one of their tracking days and see like are they accurate? So like taking a day and working out the calories yourself as an estimate, and seeing do they add up? Because if the calories are like 1,300 and they're not losing weight, then there's something wrong and there's something not adding up. So then with someone that could have a high BMI, if I was on say like the Mifflin St. Jar, you can generally go from 500 to anywhere to 1,000, depending on who it is. So like if it was a male kind of like my kind of stature, and I had a BMI of like 35 to 40, like you could go as low as the 1,000, and just be kind of wary on how low you go to, and like just not to mislead someone, because what can happen, especially just in the female population, if they're not active, and I'll show you, like if just a female is not active and say their maintenance calories are down at like 1,600 or something like that, and you're going down and putting them on like 1,200, 1,300 diets, like that can really impact them. I never really go that low. The lowest I generally will go is about 1,500 in females and about 1,900 in males, just from my experience, in terms of like exercise. If anybody's exercising or anybody's walking, like you're going to need more than that, and you just feel fairly crappy below any of those levels. So try and keep them above that. So then just an example with macronutrients. So this is very dependent on their goal. So you can customize what I say is for this client, and the macros then come up. So you can adjust these, and all these will appear then on the person's app. So they'll be set up on an app, and they'll get these targets sent out to them, and you can adjust this. So dependent on the goal, like so with protein, I generally will fall anywhere between kind of like 1.2 if someone has a really high BMI, because like if you have a high BMI, like you could be hitting 140 grams of protein fairly easily. 1.2 anywhere up to about like 2 grams per kg, for anybody that's like really active or looking to kind of lose weight and is feeling hungry. It can kind of increase it there. So there's no kind of benefits past kind of 2.2 grams per kg. Not much benefits past that in terms of anything, especially with performance. Any athletes don't need that amount. So if you're ever unsure, just ask about the kind of split. And you'll find out that not a lot of people get to macronutrient splits anyway too. Like it's important to direct them a lot around what types of foods to be eating in order to hit those. My kind of emphasis, I like choosing like high carbohydrate, moderate protein, low fat diets just because they're evidence-based to actually have the kind of biggest effect in terms of weight loss and sustainability. They're the easiest to follow, and you'll get the odd person that wants to do keto and wants to do kind of a fad diet, and it's either kind of changed their mind or else it's like let them roll with it for a while. Other than that, like if it's something that they're kind of just wanting to go off on their own with, then it's just about kind of letting them off too. Like we'll support someone as much as possible, give them the advice around it, and like just make sure you have yourself covered too in terms of like things like keto, because it can increase cholesterol a lot. And we don't want a doctor coming back being like, why is my patient's cholesterol so high? Did you put them on a keto diet? Just making sure that you have just like in writing in emails that no, we were suggesting high carbohydrate, moderate protein diets. We weren't suggesting that, and that was their own kind of cause. So you'll find challenges, and then with their email here, you just invite them here to the app and they'll get an invitation. And we actually set them up on the app too. And then you have allergies, dietary preferences down here. I generally don't make any meal plans on this. I make them myself. I will for like athletes and stuff just so they're accurate and super accurate, but I generally make the meal plans just by myself. So yeah, if you're struggling with this, you can definitely set up a call with Nutritics, and they can talk you through it as well. And that's just a half an hour session as well. It'd be good training.